Okay, go ahead.
Um, so we're gonna call this "Change My Mind," and I got six or seven different questions or statements, and I just want you to tell me if I'm off base or if I'm on the right track. I encourage anybody watching, listening to this to do the same in the comments. Um, some of these though, I was doing a little homework and looking at some of these, and some of these I'm fully behind. Some of these are just thoughts that popped into my head. So you don't gotta attack me or nothing like that. I'm just putting it out there. It's all based in it's all
feel
based
feel
behind
feel free to attack him if it's crazy. Feel free to attack him if it's crazy.
it's all based in some type of facts. I know some fans hate facts, but the numbers is the numbers and the facts are the facts. But let me go ahead and get started.
You about to be on
Matter of
some
fact,
bullshit.
let me go ahead and get it rolling. So the best place to start off at, man, is with Dan Campbell. Um
Here we go.
the Dan Campbell is the perfect place to start at. And basically what I'm looking at is how a lot of people haven't Lions fans haven't even figured it out yet. They're still trying to figure out what exactly went wrong against the Commanders. And so I guess the best place to start is with Dan Campbell. And I was looking at it and I was thinking about it. And so the first thing I want to ask you, how do you feel about this when I say that in these big games, Dan Campbell is getting outcoached? Now, before you jump on me, I'm looking at it and going into the year, man, I was like, man, I don't know what the Lions are going to do this year. Their schedule is a lot harder. But then I looked at the schedule in retrospect, and was it that hard? I looked at it, and in 2023, Dan Campbell in 2023, Dan Campbell and the Lions went 4-4 against playoff teams. In 2024, Dan Campbell went 6-3 against playoff teams. So that's a total of 10-7 in the last 2 years. I'm not gonna count the first, or I'm not gonna count 3 years ago. That was when they was getting off the mat. So I'm not gonna count that. But the last 2 years, they were 10-7 against playoff teams. Now, if you take away the division, which might be fair, might be unfair, but I'm talking about the wins and losses against the Vikings and the Packers. Dan Campbell and the Lions are 5-6 against playoff teams. Their record against opponents in 2023, if you take the records of all their opponents combined in 2023, those teams went 106 wins and 115 losses. And if you did the same for this year, you have 116 wins and 128 losses. So my question is there anything to the idea that Dan Campbell and the Lions are beating up on bad opponents, but when they come across an opponent who is on their level or better, they tend to struggle, and that might be a Dan Campbell problem?
No, I don't think so, man. I I really think that Dan Campbell, when he first came into the league, he had never been a head coach before. He made a lot of mistakes, and each year he's gotten less. He's made those mistakes less and less. Um, I feel like it's more of an execution problem. Because I feel like we play good against good teams as well. We've been in we've throughout the season we were saying, how do you want it? Do you want to play in a tough gridiron, physical it out game? Are we blowing teams, or are we blowing teams out? I feel like we play bad teams, we blow out bad teams, and we play good teams well. I mean, sometimes it takes us a minute to get because our offense actually starts off slow. It takes a minute to get the motor running, and I feel like it more comes down to execution more so than everything. The players came out and played the Commanders. The team came out and played the Commanders real well, but we actually had more yards than them. We were better in every category to them, but the defining moment was those turnovers that Goff threw. Now, you know what I'm saying? I don't think Dan Campbell can change Goff coming out and having a bad game, but it was his fault not calling timeout when when we had the 12 men on the field. Now, and that goes back to my point where yeah, sometimes he does make those boneheaded coach decisions, but each year is less and less, and I feel like next year it will be even less as he goes forward and gets and gains more experience becoming a coach. A head coach that we will see less to none of those.
So, like I said, I'll admit that this was one that I just scratched my head on and thought about. I'm not fully committed to this at all, but I will say that Dan Campbell on that podium after they lost that game to Washington, you can see the remnants of the tears in his eyes. His nose was red, and I thought about that, and I think that was a sign or a indication that this was a man who lost to the 49ers last year, went into the offseason, and in his heart of hearts, he believed that in order for them to do what they wanted to do, he admitted as much. The path to the Super Bowl had to come through Detroit, and he put everything into the season to attaining that goal, and he did attain that goal, and it it went all out the window in the first playoff game that he played. So, I'm sure he spent all offseason trying to figure out how he could get to being the number one seed. And then when you implement that plan and it works as far as getting the number one seed, but then you get bounced in the first round, and now you got to go back to the drawing board. Where do you go from there? That's going to be a tough answer for him to figure out. So, I don't want to put it all on Dan Campbell, but I think there is something deep down in there.
Detroit basketball.